The day Rowan Mercer watched his wife drive away, the sky was bright and blue, almost cruelly beautiful for a moment that shattered his life. She didn't leave after a dramatic fight. There were no broken plates, no screaming, no slammed doors. She simply loaded her suitcases into a shining silver SUV, handed him divorce papers, and walked away from everything they had built together. When the dust settled, Rowan stood alone in front of a rusty garage on the edge of town, with exactly $73 in his checking account. Most people would have called it the end. They were wrong. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that hard work can change a person's destiny, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel Heart Kindness Stories. Your support helps bring more inspiring stories like this to life. The garage sat behind an abandoned gas station on a quiet road where few cars passed anymore. Its metal roof leaked whenever it rained, and rust had eaten away large sections of the walls. Weeds grew through cracks in the concrete floor. The place looked more like a forgotten relic than a business opportunity. Yet it was all Rowan had left. The divorce settlement had been devastating. His wife, Vanessa, had always believed she deserved more than the modest life they shared. During their marriage, Rowan spent years repairing engines and restoring old machinery. He dreamed of building something meaningful with his own hands. Vanessa dreamed of luxury apartments, expensive vacations, and social circles filled with wealthy people. As the years passed, the distance between their dreams became impossible to ignore. When Rowan's small repair business struggled through difficult economic times, Vanessa grew impatient. She began comparing him to successful entrepreneurs she saw online. Every setback became evidence that he wasn't ambitious enough. Then one afternoon she left. She took the house. She took the savings. She took nearly everything. What remained was $73 and ownership of the old garage nobody wanted. The first few weeks were brutal. Rowan slept on a worn-out folding cot inside the garage because he couldn't afford an apartment. During cold nights, he wrapped himself in old blankets and listened to wind whistle through gaps in the rusted walls. Rain dripped from the ceiling into buckets he strategically placed around the room. Some mornings he woke up wondering whether Vanessa had been right all along. Perhaps he really was a failure. Perhaps dreams were only for lucky people. But every time those thoughts appeared, he looked at his calloused hands. Those hands had repaired thousands of engines. Those hands had solved problems others couldn't. Those hands still worked. And that meant he still had a chance. Every day, Rowan woke before sunrise. He cleaned the garage. He repaired broken tools. He posted handmade signs around town offering affordable engine repairs. At first, almost nobody came. Entire days passed without a single customer. He ate cheap instant noodles. He carefully counted every dollar. Sometimes he skipped meals so he could buy replacement parts. Yet he never stopped working. Then one afternoon an elderly farmer arrived with a broken tractor. The machine had defeated 3 mechanics already. Rowan spent 10 exhausting hours diagnosing the problem. Grease covered his arms. Sweat soaked his shirt. By sunset, the tractor roared back to life. The farmer was amazed. Word began spreading. Soon another customer arrived. Then another. Then 5 more. People discovered something special about Rowan. He didn't just repair machines. He cared about them. He listened carefully. He treated every customer honestly. In a world where shortcuts had become common, honesty stood out. Within 3 months, the garage was busy every day. Within 6 months, vehicles lined up outside waiting for service. But Rowan wasn't satisfied. During long evenings, he noticed a growing problem affecting local farmers. Many expensive agricultural machines broke down because replacement components were overpriced and difficult to obtain. An idea formed. What if he designed affordable replacement parts himself? The concept sounded impossible. He had little money. No investors. No corporate connections. Only experience and determination. Most people would have abandoned the idea immediately. Rowan didn't. Night after night, after customers left, he stayed inside the garage sketching designs. He studied machinery manuals. He experimented with scrap metal and discarded components. Failures piled up. Prototypes cracked. Measurements were wrong. Entire weeks of work ended in disappointment. Still, he continued. One evening, exhausted and discouraged, Rowan stared at another failed prototype. The workshop was silent except for the ticking of an old wall clock. He thought about giving up. Then he remembered sleeping on that folding cot. He remembered the humiliation of losing everything. He remembered how people looked at him after the divorce. And suddenly quitting became impossible. The next morning he started again. Months later, success finally arrived. His redesigned agricultural component was cheaper, stronger, and easier to install than existing alternatives. Local farmers loved it. Orders began arriving faster than he could fulfill them. The tiny garage transformed into a production workshop. Rowan hired his first employee. Then a second. Then 5 more. For the first time in years, hope felt real. Meanwhile, Vanessa's life appeared perfect from the outside. Social media photos showed luxury restaurants, expensive clothes, and glamorous events. Many people assumed she had made the right decision. But photographs rarely tell the full story. The wealthy businessmen she had left Rowan for turned out to be controlling and dishonest. Several business ventures collapsed. Financial troubles followed. The glamorous life she had chased began falling apart. Yet Rowan knew none of this. He was too busy building his future. By the end of the first year, something extraordinary happened. A regional agricultural company discovered his products. Executives visited the garage expecting to find a small operation. Instead, they found innovation, efficiency, and growing demand. They offered Rowan a partnership. The deal changed everything. Production expanded dramatically. Revenue multiplied. New employees joined the company every month. The rusty garage remained standing, but now modern equipment filled the space. Fresh paint covered the walls. New machinery hummed throughout the day. The place that once symbolized failure had become a symbol of resilience. Then came the day Rowan never expected. A black luxury sedan pulled into the parking lot. Employees glanced through windows. The vehicle looked out of place among tractors and work trucks. When the driver's door opened, Rowan froze. Vanessa stepped out. A year earlier she had walked away without looking back. Now she stood nervously beside her car, clutching a leather folder. Time seemed to slow. The workers sensed tension and quietly returned to their tasks. Rowan walked outside. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the pavement. Vanessa looked different. The confidence she once carried so effortlessly had faded. Her eyes revealed exhaustion. The expensive appearance remained, but something deeper had changed. Regret. For several moments neither moved. Memories filled the silence. Years of marriage. Shared dreams. Broken promises. Pain. Eventually she explained why she had come. News of Rowan's company had spread throughout the region. Investors were discussing future expansion. Industry experts predicted significant growth. She wanted to buy shares. Not because she believed in his vision from the beginning. Not because she had supported him during difficult times. Because now she saw value. The irony was impossible to ignore. When the business consisted of a leaking garage and $73, she wanted nothing to do with it. Now that success had arrived, she wanted ownership. Rowan listened quietly. Anger never appeared. Bitterness never surfaced. The hardships of the past year had transformed him. He no longer needed revenge. He no longer needed validation. Success had already given him something far greater. Peace. He looked around the property. Employees worked diligently inside. Customers chatted near repaired equipment. The garage buzzed with life and purpose. Every brick, every machine, every achievement represented perseverance during moments when quitting would have been easier. None of it had been built by luck. It had been built through sacrifice. Vanessa lowered her eyes. For the first time, she seemed to understand what she had truly abandoned. Not a struggling mechanic. Not an unsuccessful dreamer. A man willing to endure unimaginable hardship for something he believed in. A man whose character remained strong when circumstances became unbearable. A man she had underestimated. Rowan thanked her for coming. Then he gently explained that ownership wasn't available. The company belonged to the people who believed in it when it was nothing. The employees who worked late nights. The farmers who trusted his products. The partners who took risks. And himself. Especially himself. Vanessa nodded slowly. There was no argument. No dramatic confrontation. Just acceptance. Sometimes the most painful consequences arrive quietly. She returned to her car and drove away. This time Rowan didn't watch with heartbreak. He watched with gratitude. Because if she had never left, he might never have discovered the strength hidden inside him. Years later, Rowan often spoke at community events and business conferences. People frequently asked about the secret behind his success. They expected discussions about investments, strategies, or market opportunities. Instead, Rowan always spoke about resilience. He explained that success rarely begins with perfect conditions. Sometimes it begins in a rusty garage. Sometimes it begins with $73. Sometimes it begins after your entire world falls apart. The important thing is refusing to quit. He reminded audiences that kindness matters too. Throughout his journey, local farmers, loyal customers, and supportive employees had helped him survive difficult days. Their belief carried him forward when his own confidence weakened. No one succeeds completely alone. And no setback lasts forever. As the years passed, the company continued growing, but Rowan never sold the original garage. Visitors often asked why. The answer was simple. That garage contained the most valuable lesson of his life. It reminded him that circumstances do not define a person. Choices do. When life stripped away everything he owned, he still possessed determination, integrity, and hope. Those qualities proved more valuable than money. Far more valuable than appearances. Far more valuable than the approval of people who only believe in you after you've succeeded. And before we reach the end of this story, if Rowan's journey touched your heart, please like the video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to Heart Kindness Stories. Stories like this remind us that even the darkest chapters can lead to extraordinary beginnings. Special request: comment below with the words, "I will never give up," if you believe perseverance can transform a person's life. The truth is that everyone faces moments when life seems unfair. Dreams fail. Relationships end. Opportunities disappear. It becomes tempting to believe the story is over. But sometimes those painful endings are actually new beginnings wearing a different disguise. A rusty garage became a thriving company. $73 became a fortune. Heartbreak became purpose. And the man who was abandoned became the man everyone admired. The greatest victory wasn't the money Rowan earned. It wasn't the business he built. It wasn't even proving people wrong. His greatest victory was proving to himself that he could survive loss without losing his character, face failure without surrendering his hope, and face success without forgetting his humility. And that is a kind of wealth no one can ever take away. Thank you for listening, and remember, your current situation is not your final destination. As long as you keep moving forward, keep believing, and keep working with kindness in your heart, your own miracle may be closer than you think.